Hey, everybody, join us for Cash Call. It's Dale Archdekin and Brian Curtis back for another riveting week of coaching, right? Revolutionizing the sales industry, right, Brian?
I like to think so, just helping people get, 1, 2, 5% better. That's it's really all it takes. So
What's that phrase? It's like game of inches or something, or something.
Yeah, that's definitely, you hear that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
It's usually this 6 inches, by the way. It's probably the most important 6 inches in any sport or any function at all. So
absolutely, man. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. Correct.
What, isn't that a Thomas Edison? Isn't that a Thomas
Henry
Edison
Ford?
Henry Ford. Okay, one of those.
That's a Henry Ford quote.
For late 1900s.
Yeah. So we're coming up on the end of the year, man. I've got.
Would you?
Uh-oh, sorry, you're breaking up on me. Are you good?
Keep going.
Keep going? Okay. Brian's slowing down a little bit in his old age, and his internet's catching up with him. So I'm just going to crack jokes at Brian's expense until his internet comes back up.
I can hear everything you're saying. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
You can hear, but you can't retort. Yeah, no, we did hear you come in on that. So listen, I was saying it's the end of the year, and we're gonna finish the year out strong and hopefully have a great 2022. It's been a very interesting year, like lack of inventory, all sorts of stuff going on. So I have no idea. Wait, how about this? Well, let's do the Brian prediction for 2022. What's going to happen to the real estate industry, Brian?
Here's my prediction. I have no idea if it's right, but I think we're going to see some of the strongest first and second quarters that we've seen in years. Here's why, and because all the experts are claiming that we're going to see interest rates climb at the end of the year. So if the experts keep saying that, people are going to want to buy in Q1 and Q2. I think we're going to see interest rates slowly creep because hopefully the administration is smart enough to figure out if you wake up one day and interest rates go up a point, everybody freaks out, and that's bad for everybody. So I think we'll see, a slow progression, and I think we'll be in the low to mid fours by the end of the year. And I think it's going to be interesting things that happen. I'm talking to some people in the mortgage business. Some of the big companies have laid off tons and tons of people because the refi boom is over in their mind. So the big advantage to you as a real estate agent is there's going to be people out there who were really dependent on refis who are looking for purchases. So have conversations with those people. Those are people who might do MSAs or any other kind of marketing agreements that, they're going to need business, because if you're dependent on refis, I'm not saying there's not going to be any refis, but refi boom itself is over. And that's why they hired so many people. And one of the big companies literally laid off 50% of their employees last month. So
wow. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Prediction for 2022. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Exactly.
Yeah. You get a pink slip and you get a pink slip. Oh, well, thank you for that dire prediction for us there, Brian.
I don't feel like it was dire. I think it's going to be a great first and second quarter, the best that we've had in years. And I think the second, the third, and fourth quarter, people will accept the fact that interest rates aren't 3 anymore. And by the way, a 4% interest rate is a damn good interest rate.
I know.
And
you remember,
I think that
remember when 6 or 7 was great?
So I started my career in 2005, and every loan that we did was 6.25 higher, and some as high as 8, 9, 10%. Some of those adjustable rate mortgages or some of those subprime things. I mean, 6.25 was like the rate. My first house that I bought it on a VA loan, and I paid 7. Yeah. So, 4 doesn't scare me. And I sold a lot of houses at 6.5 and 7%. So every agent who's out there scared to death that the interest rates going up are going to be the end of your career, it's not. Just sometimes takes people a while. And, the idea of the frog boiling in the water, right? So if you wake up one day and throw the frog in the boiling water or hop right back out, in essence, if interest rates go up a point in a day, everyone's going to freak out. But I think we're going to have a slow boil, and people are just going to start to accept it as a good thing. So that's my prediction for 2022. I'm a little more doom and gloom for 2023, so we won't talk about that today.
Oh, all right. Well, you'll have to hit me offline. I want to hear about that. Cool. So I've got a call to listen to today. What I think is will hold true in 2022. we're still going to have really good conversations with complete strangers to get them to buy and sell real estate with us.
I don't know if that'll ever change, Dale.
Yeah, unless you're really lucky and you only do business with people who know, like, and trust you already, in which case you're coasting. So everybody has to have conversations with people that they don't know, like, or trust. So let's hear that. And this one I'm going to play is a very classic example of losing an opportunity from an internet lead. And, this is one that we hear a lot. So let me play that. Share my sound.
Are you the one who just texted me? Stuffy?
Is this Dorothy?
Yes.
Hey, Dorothy.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hi. I want to go see it, but I was just looking online. It says pendant. What do pendant mean?
Pending means it's already under contract. Someone else has already offered on the house and the seller has accepted their offer.
They already accepted the offer.
Okay, so let me go ahead and play this. We'll play this all the way through so you see what happens. And then let's go back, Brian, and you and I will give these people some advice on what to do instead.
Perfect.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah, so that's why I asked about your pre-approval. Yeah, that's why I asked about your pre-approval, because it's extremely important in this market that we have a pre-approval. Do you have a pre-approval by any chance?
I do have a pre-approval, but I just got it this morning, and I got to find a person. But the thing is, I got the pre-approval, but I wanted that house. And,
that one's going to be... Sorry, go ahead.
I seen the house, rolled past it, was it Saturday? And Friday and Saturday, I rolled past the house and seen that was for sale. And I couldn't get in touch with nobody. But the thing is, I thought they usually have it open for a while, open the gates, for all the stuff, then they decide who gets the house.
Yeah, so unfortunately that one is out of reach. It is, if it comes back on the market, I'd be more than happy to let you know. But
you can do that.
Huh?
You can do that. You can let me know.
Okay.
Only that one.
Okay.
I'll continue to look.
Okay. Do you want me to send you other houses? I have access to other houses.
No, that's okay. I like to look on my own.
Okay. I have access to stuff that's not even on the market. Are you sure you don't want to see it?
Okay, send it to me.
So that was at least a half-assed attempt to keep this person in the conversation, but then she just replies with "send it to me," right? All right, so let's break this down a little bit. I have a problem all the way back here, right? Where she's asking about the property, she asks what pending means, right? So he said pending means, but we'll go back to what he did.
Is this Dorothy? Hey, Dorothy. Yes.
Hi. I want to go see it, but I was just looking online. It says pendant. What do pendant mean?
Pending means it's already under contract. Someone else has already offered on the house and the seller has accepted their offer. Okay.
Now, I think that I would want to change that, like for anybody, just as a standard practice. I'd rather hear them say, I'm gonna answer the question truthfully. Pending means that the seller has accepted an offer, but they may be willing to accept backup offers or additional offers on the property. Just add that in, right? Just add it in, say it every time, because, a lot of times it might not matter to the person that it's under agreement. But I hear a lot of times when someone is calling about a specific property, hey, I want that property. I want to buy that property, or I want to go see that property. And when they find out that it's unavailable, they quit on us, which is what she did.
Yeah, and I think we talk about this all the time. One of the things we want to do is get an opportunity to get in front of somebody. So you could answer the question. That means that the property is under contract. The seller's accepted a contract. That being said, one of the things that I tell a lot of my buyers to do is put in a backup offer, because in this market, about 20% of offers that are being put in are falling apart. So if we put in a strong backup offer, the seller will know that, and there's an opportunity for us to get the house. So with that in mind, I'm going to try and set it up for this evening. What time works better for you, 4 or 5?
Yep.
So get in front of them, because this guy was obviously struggling. And it's funny. Here's something that I noticed about this. We have two eyes trying to talk over each other.
Yeah.
And as a, quote my friend Joe Rico, as I do often, if somebody's going to be uncomfortable, you as the agent, you as the ISA, you need to volunteer to be uncomfortable. And what that means is you need to let this person talk and get out of their way, and then get in when you can. And that's frustrating because we all want to talk. We don't want to listen to them talk, but you've got to get out of your own way when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I want to remind everyone that we can do a Q&A at the end of this. If you guys have any issues, objections that you're dealing with currently, any questions that you have, things that Brian and I can specifically help you with, we'd like to throw in some Q&A at the end of the session. If nothing else, Brian and I can absolutely fill the air. Right, Brian?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to go back to this call. Now, let's say that you didn't catch the pending part up front, right? Let's say you did what he did and you realize that as you're in the conversation, you're like, oh man, I might have screwed this up. This lady's really fixated on this property, right? What the hell do I do now? So he's missing a lot of opportunities in here. Let's listen to it.
To sell, they already accepted the offer. Oh, good grief.
Yeah, so that's why I asked about your pre-approval. Yeah, that's why I asked about your pre-approval, because it's extremely important in this market that we.
So I think he kind of went the wrong direction with this. I would have talked about that property. Got it, man. It sounds like you really had your heart set on that property. So what about that property was most interesting to you, right? So I want him to be fixate on the property instead of like going off track and asking uncomfortable questions about financing.
Here's another thing he did, and maybe you're going to come to this, but she talked about how she saw the property on Friday and Saturday, and she drove by and all these other things, and she couldn't get a hold of anybody. So great salespeople solve problems.
Yes.
So she told you what her problem was. Her problem was she couldn't get a hold of anybody, and therefore that's why she didn't go see this house. Solve that problem in this scenario. Hey, Susie, I don't remember what her name was. It doesn't really matter. Hey, Susie, here's one of the things that's great. Now you're working with me. And with that in mind, any property that you want to see, we've got a team of agents, or I will, whatever your case may be, make sure that you get in there within a time frame before that house goes pending. So, working with us has a huge benefit, because that's something that sounds like something you might be interested in doing. So, tie her down to that. Oh crap. If you'd have been working with me a week ago, then you would have written an offer on this house. I mean, don't know if I'd go that far, but that's in essence what you want them to start thinking. And by the way, hopefully that's true. I'm not just, making that up. Hopefully you're an agent who's going to make sure that person gets served, especially in a hot seller market.
I think most of the people listening to this are. Right. I mean, I can hear this guy, like, listen to him trying to save this lead at the end. I'm pretty sure if he had this person as a buyer who's pre-qualified, he's going to try to get her in there and sell that house. You can hear that he wants to sell a house. Right. I think that what we're pointing out in this section is he's just missing the opportunity to have a different conversation with her, because he is convinced, first of all, that this house she can't have. And he's stuck at, you can't have this house. Right? Let me give you some other house, when he really needs to do a little more discovery with her and have a conversation with her.
And let me say this too, and Dale and I go back and forth on this, and I'm not here to argue about whether this question should be asked at all, but he went to the pre-qual question. And I hear that as a default for people who don't know what to do.
Right.
I hear it over and over again. I hear it on role plays. Hey, so I don't know what else to ask. Are you pre-qualified? Okay, if you're a person who finds yourself doing that, if you're listening to your calls and you get lost, create a list of questions for yourself that you can ask that are you pre-qualified? Because there's a value in asking it, but it's not a good question at this point in time. This guy's got no rapport. He's done no discovery. He's got none of that stuff. And so you're going to talk about the most challenging thing before you've done the part that gives you the right to ask that question, and I like to think about that way. I have to build rapport, build respect, build some trust before I'm going to start talking about people's finances. They don't want to talk about their finances. So make sure that you're doing that. That's a question that comes more towards the end of a conversation in my mind. And again, I'm even of the opinion that you can ask it in person instead of on the first phone call. So.
Got it. I would say, generally speaking, most of the people I train, we want it asked in the first conversation.
And that's great.
Especially if they're wanting to go look at a property. But at least some kind of pass across it. Like, hey, have you spoken to anybody about financing, or are you buying it cash? Right? Like, even if you just ask that question, at least is what we train in the first conversation. I haven't seen any detriment to doing it, but doing it the way he's doing it is not good.
Yeah, you gotta be in rapport before you ask that question, and there's no rapport here yet.
Right. Now, so I want to see you here where he loses the opportunity to engage her in a conversation.
Have a pre-approval. Do you have a pre-approval by any chance?
I do have a pre-approval, but I just got it this morning, and I got to find me a person. But the thing is, I got the pre-approval, but I wanted that house. And
Red flag. I wanted that house. Okay. You better switch gears and talk about that house, or what she liked, or what her perspective is, or how she feels, or even commiserate, or whatever. You better build some more rapport. You're going to lose her. But listen to what he says.
That one's going to be. Sorry, go ahead.
I seen the house roll past it. Was it Saturday and Friday and Saturday? I rolled past the house and seen that was for sale, and I couldn't get in touch with nobody. But the thing is, I thought they usually have it open for a while. Open the gates. For all the stuff.
This is like the 7 stages of grief right now. She can't have what she wants, and she's grieving, right?
And they decide who gets the house.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that one is out of reach.
No, he's like, all right, suck it up, grab a tissue. You can't have what you want. Let me sell you something else, right? I think that he needs to spend a little bit more time actually being involved with this lady who just discovered that she can't have what she wants.
Well, and to your point earlier, she might still get what she wants. No, we don't want to set false expectations. Oh, we're going to write a backup offer and you're going to get the house. We don't want to do that. But you want to, if you give her a glimmer of hope, by the way, I think this whole conversation turns. Like, hey, Dale, it's not ideal. There's still a chance that we could potentially get this house. Why don't we do this? Why don't I see if I can set up a time for us to go take a look at it? And then assuming that you still like it in person, we'll write a backup offer. And that will put us, in a possibility that we, if something happens to the first offer, that we would be the absolute first person in line. That's a heck of a lot better than I'll call you back when it goes back on the market.
Right. Yeah. I mean, literally he really is just kind of the dead end for her. And so that's really all she wanted. And there's no other value to her in the conversation with him is the problem.
Right. Yeah. You don't have any more value. Yeah. We're down. We put ourselves in a corner in a box, as we say in sales, right? I'm in a box. I don't know how to get out of it. So, and by the way, at any point in time, he could have changed his tune on that. Like if he would have thought about, what, maybe I can get, we'll do it. You can just say out of the blue and it's okay. Hey, you know what, Dale? I just thought of something. Why don't I try and call the listing agent to see if they're taking backup offers? If you didn't get there first, it's not like you can never do that. There's a perfect way to do it, but that's still a really, really good way to do it if that comes to your head. So
yeah.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot. You can always backtrack it during a conversation.
Absolutely. Excellent. Brian, you have one you want to play?
I do. And, it's an interesting call to me. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but to me, what I see is missed opportunities, kind of like what you had there. So let me pull this up and hit share screen.
Okay, we have a common theme. We do have a question in here, by the way, that we'll get to from Lori Harris.
And we've got one from Susan Britnell as well. So
okay, great.
All right, here we go.
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Hear it?
Oh yeah, we got it.
Connected me with the local agent. Did they tell you what property or?
Yes. Let me see. In Winslow or Rogers? I think it's Rogers.
Roger.
Yeah, 1638 West Madison.
Yeah, it's like 12.1 acres. Pretty decent house. 212 or something like that.
Yes. Right. Yes. Let me get it pulled. That MLS pulled up here.
I don't hear you, Brian. I don't hear you. We heard the call, but not you.
I muted my microphone. I turned it back. So intro scripts are vital during lead generation or lead things. So when this is a Zillow call, when Zillow passes you a call, say, this is so-and-so with such and such company. Zillow told me you're interested in 123 Main Street. Would you like to make an appointment to take a look at the house? The same script over and over and over and over again. I can't emphasize that enough. You know, Dale and I rarely say memorize these scripts, but memorize some kind of intro script so you don't sound doesn't sound like this is the first time you've ever done this.
Yeah.
And then take control of that conversation. If you're like, what was the property? Let me look it up. Da, 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 da. You are completely out of control. The buyer's frustrated, and you're missing opportunities to show you're the person they want to work with. So we beat that dead horse, but I'm going to keep beating it until I stop hearing that during conversations, I guess.
I think you should force everyone that you hear do that. Listen to us. Listen to clips of us over the past 2 years saying the same thing.
Not a bad idea. I like it. Okay, so let's go into. There's some real
So
interesting.
Do you live in Rogers currently, or?
Out by War Eagle. I don't really live in nowhere.
Okay.
Out in the county.
Okay. So yes, it's been on the market for 3 days. It's 1,250 square feet.
Okay, pause it. This strategy annoys me, and it's very old school. It provides no value to the person that you're talking to, where the agent is like, oh yeah, I see it. It's this many square feet, this many bedrooms and bathrooms, and been on the market X days and blah, blah, blah. He didn't ask any of that shit. Who cares? Why are you talking about that? Ask this guy questions, okay? Find out from him what he's doing. Like, stop think, that's like walking onto the car lot and I see a nice red coupe and the salesperson walks up and starts reading me the stats on the damn car. I'm not interested in the stats. If I am, I will ask you.
Yep, it's very important. I actually wrote down the same exact thing. Like, why are we providing information for people that they didn't ask for, and we don't know anything about what the guy wants? So,
and here's the other thing about providing information that people didn't ask for. All you're doing is providing an opportunity for you to say something they don't like.
Yes, absolutely. And again, that might make an opportunity we don't get to meet them in person. And
right.
As much as this is about not meeting people in person, Dale and I's phone calls, the goal is to meet people in person. So.
Right. Yes, that's what this is supposed to lead to.
Yeah. Okay.
I can schedule an appointment to see it.
So if that means the house 1,200, that's not big, but that's not small, right?
Well, it's
okay. So here's the answer to that question, by the way. I have no idea. So I can tell you as a real estate agent, this conversation always made my head hurt. I got this 2,700 square foot house, and me and my wife and 2 kids, we are living on top of each other. It's so unbelievably small. And my brain said, you're a moron, don't do that. My real estate said, great, let's sell it and buy you a bigger one so I can make 2 commissions. But so we have no idea. 2,700 square feet to me is a huge house. Yeah. But what is it to this guy? Yeah. Here's a perfect opportunity to just say, you know what? The best way for us to figure out if this house is the right size for you is to go take a look at it.
You know how he first got concerned about the size?
She brought it up.
So she said 1,200 goddamn square feet and didn't need to do that.
Yep. So, yeah. And again, we're gonna be a little bit harsh on this call, I promise. But there's good stuff in here that we can take a look at not doing or starting to do. So here we go. Play a little bit more.
Only cursing because I'm fired up.
There you go.
It's about average, probably a little under average. Yeah. So is it just you, or do you have a family?
Good transition.
It is, except that I don't like that question. Do you have other people who are you going to live with? Do you have a family? Everybody's got a family.
Right.
You know? Be careful with that terminology.
Yeah, that might even be.
Son, 8-year-old son, a daughter in her 20s.
Oh, okay. Well, will they be living with you, or is it just you?
Just me most of the time.
Okay. It'd probably be plenty big enough then for one person. I mean, it'd be okay for 2.
Okay. Well,
would you like for me to schedule an appointment?
There we go.
I would very much.
Okay. What I can do, It
Can you
says
pause
on
it?
here, 24 hours.
Can you pause? So this is like an example of where it's just amazing. Like if you were talking to this salesperson and you gave her advice on what to say and what not to say, or like how to talk to people, or even if you didn't and you just assumed that they wouldn't say, like you wouldn't know the ways in which she's nearly talked herself out of a sale a couple of times because this salesperson can't identify that what they've done. Do you know what I mean? So they can't come to you and say, "Oh yeah, hey, well I told the guy it was 1,200 square feet when he didn't even ask me, and then he had a concern with it, and then I told him that it would be good enough for only 2 people." Right? She's not going to tell you that stuff. You actually have to hear that and be like, "Hey, we need to listen to this because I need you to understand how that came across and what that did in your conversation." So that's why it's so hard to train people without actually hearing what they're doing.
Absolutely. So I'm going to play just one more minute of this. This to me is an opportunity to a question that never gets asked. And I wanted to see if I'm the only person who catches this red flag. I'm sure Dale will catch it, but this is a huge red flag to me. And I think that the agent completely missed this opportunity to ask a really important question. Of course, now the damn thing's not going to play. Okay, give me a second. I'll close it out and reopen it.
Hi there, Alex here.
You, or
Yeah, well, I don't have the pre-approval. I just talked to the lender. And he's on a 200 and, well, more than that house.
okay.
Brand new built house, and he didn't see a problem. So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm working with him right now to get all that taken care of.
Okay.
But, I mean, for
Okay.
something.
So do you see what was missed there? He said the buyer says, I've been approved for more than that on a new construction house. And her response is, okay, great. What's the question you want to ask? I know the question I want to ask.
I'm not sure which one you want to ask. Whether or not I mean, I might ask him if he's made any offers on anything or if he's seen anything yet.
There's a reason that he's been pre-qualified on this house. And some other agent showed it to him. He went into a new construction office unrepresented. What happened? Like, did he write an offer on this other house that didn't get accepted? He write an offer on this other house that he terminated? I mean, did he fire his other agent? Did he never have one? That question never got asked. And when someone starts talking about another house that they've seen, that they know about, you've got to figure that out, because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go show this house. This guy's going to love it. And he goes, thank you so much. I'll have my agent send you an offer,
Right.
Because that kind of stuff happens literally every day. And I think that you've got to pay attention to those little nuanced things, or otherwise you're going to be showing houses to people who have an agent.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely don't want to run into that. Excellent. So I definitely hear a few training opportunities for that person.
Absolutely. And she's a good agent, and she'll get it. We don't all have perfect calls all the time. So let's answer these couple questions, Dale. I want to make sure that we do that, since we ask people to put them in. So
sounds good. Let's start with hold on. I think Sue is a frequent viewer. She's in the VIP club. So we'll answer Sue's first. So Sue Britnell asked, when calling leads this time of year, is there a time to turn off the real estate questions and just be human? Best of the season type calls. I think that obviously for your sphere of influence, absolutely. But for leads, no. Leads are real estate leads. They are inquiring about property. They're trying to see things. They're looking at properties for sale. So it's very valid for you, for a new lead, to have a real estate conversation with them. For your nurturing leads, yeah, mix in some seasonal sort of like text messages or emails or whatever that aren't involved in real estate, just as one of those nice ways of staying in touch with them. What do you think, Brian?
I agree. And I would also potentially look at, depending on how many people you have, at doing a client event, very simple client event that we finish. Well, we'll actually do the delivery of it on Friday, but we called all of our past clients. Hopefully, obviously I don't monitor all that. We ended up giving away 285 pies that we're giving away on the 17th. And just from a quick point on that, without actually meeting the people in person, without doing the phone calls, we have 4 listing appointments.
Nice.
So, and again, we didn't call them up and say, are you interested in it? You say, hey, would you like a pie? Yeah, cool. How's your house going, by the way? Have you enjoyed it? Do you have any questions? Anything I can do for you? So basically what you're doing is doing the same thing, except of course you're going to ask them about their house, because that's your point of relationship, unless they're, to Dale's point, somebody's in your sphere. So absolutely. So.
Cool. Let's answer Lori Harris's second question first, because it's easier. She said, I have another question, if that's okay. What's your position on leaving voicemails? I think for the most part, voicemails for leads, never waste your time leaving a voicemail. They're not going to call you back. For potentially for sphere or past clients, yes, if you're getting them on an office line. But otherwise, I don't really waste time with voicemails. It's a call. If they don't answer, it's a text message, an email, or a direct message. What about you, Brian?
I go either way on this. If I'm banging out calls, my philosophy is I've never spoken to the person. Generally, I don't. If it's somebody who I know, who I'm following up with, I might leave a voicemail. Or if I'm going to leave a voicemail, I always do something like this. 10 minutes after I leave that voicemail, hey, about 10 minutes ago, I left you a voicemail. Just wanted to make sure you got it. So if you don't follow it up with a text, I mean, I listened to a voicemail 3 days ago that I had in my phone for a week, didn't even realize it. Voicemail, people aren't paying attention to it anymore. So I like to say no, because it adds an extra 30 to 40 seconds to every phone call, which doesn't seem like a lot, but add that up over 100 phone calls, and that's 48, that's a lot of extra minutes. So
I clean out my voicemail box every month or 2.
I'm the same way.
That's what happens, right? And on my outgoing voice message, it says something about Dale was inside Dale's. What's that?
Don't leave me a voicemail.
Don't leave me a voicemail. It says text me or email me, and here's how you do it, because I will clean out this mailbox once every month. So don't leave me a voicemail. And again, same thing that Brian said. If I'm working leads, I'm trying to get as many leads as I can through there. And I don't know, on one, I could probably count on one hand the number of leads, cold leads or like internet registrations that I left a voicemail for whoever called me back. They just don't do it. But let's go to Lori Harris's other question. She says, I'm an ISA and recently started calling expireds. She's never done it before. One lady answered and said the property was a vacant lot. Her husband is the decision maker, but he was unavailable and they already have an agent who is the only person they would use. I asked if they would be willing to pay us a commission if we brought a buyer. I just did, she says, I did your on-demand training, meaning mine, I guess, Conversion University. She said, sure, if it was the right price. I asked what that would be, and she deferred to her husband and told me to call back if we had a buyer. She then said they don't care if it takes 20 years to sell. They're not in a hurry. Where do I go from there? So it's a little difficult. There's a lot of detail in here while still missing some of the details. It'd be much easier if we could have listened to the conversation that you had. The husband said, call back if you have a buyer. I'm assuming you asked the husband how much he wanted for the lot, and if not, you shouldn't have let him push you off the phone before you.
I don't think she spoke to the husband.
Oh, okay. I asked okay. So I guess maybe the husband was like, tell her to call back.
Available, but maybe not available. I think the wife wants her to call back. She deferred to her husband and told me to call back if we had a buyer. So basically she's straw manning her is what the concept is. And it's a trick we teach, not a trick, but it's a technique we teach people. I'm sorry, my broker won't allow me to lower my commission lower than 5.5%. I'm blaming my broker. I can't argue with the broker. He's not here. She can't argue with the husband. He's not here. And one of the things you might be able to do, is there a good time when I could call back and speak to your husband? Sounds like, he's more involved in this and you're deferring to him. That's okay. Is there a time when he might be home? Might be a good thing. And I'll say this, you're talking about vacant land, probably owned free and clear. The taxes are $500 a year. They just don't care. I'm not saying you give up on stuff, but this doesn't feel like, some leads aren't any good. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah, this is one of those where, if you're going to try to get a listing, fine, but honestly, find out how much they want for the land, put it out to your entire database and see who wants to pay that much for land, as long as it's not outrageous or whatever it may be. Find a buyer. That's all I'm saying. if it's worth even chasing down. But with this sort of response, I don't think I would chase it down just to get a listing contract.
Husband was playing golf, wife was trying to get rid of me. So yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And I appreciate, you're an ISA, your job is to set appointments, to try and get listing appointments, try and get buyer appointments. You did your job here. Maybe raw land's worth a lot more where you're at, but we got 10 acres and it's at $2,000 an acre. I don't want to spend a bunch of time tracing down a $20,000 listing of a piece of land. Or
we can go to Arkansas and get 12 acres with a house on it for $220. $220. 220,000. Right? Yeah,
it's not quite that good anymore. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're starting looking at raw land, some markets it's worth a ton of money, and if it's worth your time, then great, focus on it. But I don't know. I sometimes in every sales conversation there's a winner. This person probably would have beat me.
Yeah,
I just not enough value in it for me. So,
yep. Then if iPhone notifications are on, it stays red, showing you have an unheard voicemail, and you can't unheard voicemail. Oh, sorry. Here we go. I had to roll up. Can't miss it. Just like a text, by the way. So I always listen to mine, as usually doctors' offices are always leaving you a voicemail. All I'm saying is people definitely check their voicemail if they will call you back. If they don't, I guess she doesn't know whether they're going to call you back or not. So some people will check. Vinny, I'm going to say some people will check their voicemails. I do not check my voicemails.
Yeah, and I'm with Dale. I appreciate that you're a person who checks your voicemails, and that's great. But I'm telling you, a whole bunch of people do not do it. And this is a mistake that I've made throughout my career, assuming that other people are like me. They're not. And so just because you do a thing and it's important to you, please don't make the assumption it's important to somebody else, because I can tell you right now, call my son. He doesn't even have a voicemail. Literally, he's 21 years old. You can leave him a message. I mean, you can send him a text message. You can call him and answer his phone, but his voicemail is not set up.
My 12-year-old went and just got a cell phone this year, and he did the same outgoing message that I have on mine. I guess he must have heard it. So now the 12-year-old does the same message of "Don't leave me a voicemail, text me," which is, it's just comical to me. You know what I mean? Like he's now he only knows a world where you don't use voicemail, right? Like that's a silly thing to do.
Yeah. And you know what? Everything's going to change, right? My wife and I were talking about this last week. It was funny. Do you remember getting your first text message? My first text message, I didn't know what to do with it. Like and I had a phone that didn't have a keyboard that with letters. It had a keyboard, and you had to send a C. You had to hit the thing 3 times. And I was like, this text messaging stuff is dumb. Yeah, 111. So
I had a pager in high school, and that's what you had to do. It was only 1 through, I think, like 0 through 9 or something was the keys. Yeah. So you would have to literally go to a phone. You would call whoever's pager number, and you'd have to punch the numbers, like you said, like ABC was 111, DEF was 222, right? And how many times you hit it is what it texted out. And you had to remember what you were spelling.
It's frustrating. And why do I bring that up? Because Dale and I are saying we're old. No, we're saying that because that was a technology that at the time I was like, this is dumb. This isn't going to catch on. But I'm 49. So, I can remember that. My wife said this. She said, when I read my first text message, it had been there for a year and a half. So, but my point is that technology moves, and we have to be understanding of that. And technology changes significantly faster than it did 15 years ago. So take that for what it's worth. That was just kind of a funny story I was thinking about as we're trying to learn how to text on a phone that doesn't have letters. So
that's crazy. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Cash Call today. We'll see everybody next week. And then the following week we'll be off for our holiday, I guess.
No, you said that backwards.
Did I say it backwards? We're off next week. No call.
Yeah, okay. Next week is 2 days before Christmas. So.
Got it. And Brian reserves his shopping for 2 days before Christmas, so he'll need to be out there getting it.
That's right. Anyway, thanks everybody. Happy holidays, and we'll see you getting ready for the beginning of 2022.
Sounds good. Bye.